Hello, I'm Trine and this is Hopspots. In this video I'm going to show you how to get started with Hopspots. Hopspots consist of these 12 spots that you see here on the floor. The spots are wirelessly connected to the iPad and they have a print here on the bottom that allows them to charge in this speaker unit over here. So if we just flip this one around, then you can see that there are 12 shelves in here, and when you put the spots in here, they'll charge when you plug in the charger down here. So the shelves are there for storage and they're there for charging the spots. The speaker unit has wheels on, so it's really easy to move around. And then there is, of course, the speaker in here, which you connect the iPad with up here. So when you're going to get started with playing, you have to download the Hopspots app on your iPad, and you can download it on as many iPads as you like. And then you make sure that the iPad has access to Wi-Fi and that you have Bluetooth turned on, because we're going to use Bluetooth for establishing the connection with these spots here. So I'll just log in as a start. I have made sure that I have access to Wi-Fi and I have Bluetooth turned on. Let's log in. And then it's really important to remember to turn on the speaker unit here. So you have to see a little light over here, because otherwise the speaker unit is off or there's no more power on it. So turn it on using this button here, which turns on the equipment that establishes the connection between the iPad and the spots, and also it's the power button for the speaker and also the volume. So you can turn up the volume here. Yeah, so that's really basic things to remember first. And then when you get into the app, you go to settings up here on your right, and then you make sure that the iPad or the app here is set as the spot master. So that's really important, because that's what tells you which iPad you're connecting with the spots. So if you have other iPads nearby with the app on, turn it off and then turn it on the iPad that you want to play with. So I'll just turn it off so you guys can see how that looks. So now it's off. You can see a little sign down here in the left corner showing that there is no connection to the spots. So let's turn it on again so that we can create the connection now. Next thing we're going to do is the color pairing that you see just below Spot Master. So yes, I want to pair the spots.
Yellow.
And that's basically to connect all 12 spots with the iPad. So now follow the instructions on the screen, and you also hear the speaker saying which spot to
Orange.
press. Okay, so I'll just
Red.
do that.
Pink, purple, blue, turquoise, green, grey, black, brown, white.
There we go. So now the color pairing is complete. This is something that you have to do whenever you connect a new iPad with the spots. And if, for instance, you have the app on more iPads than one, you turn it off on the other ones and then you turn it on the one you want to play with. So in that way you can use different iPads for connecting with the spots and playing on them. And then we're actually ready to start playing. I'll focus on the first 5 games that are pretty fast and easy to play, and then you can watch a different video for the game The Island. It's a bit more challenging and it takes a bit more time to play, so that one will get its own separate video that you can watch. And yeah, we'll just get started with the chase here. So it's probably one of the easiest games here. In our app. Yep. I just activated the number of spots that I want to play with, and I want to play with all 12 of them, but I can also just press 8 or whatever and actually have the option of adding up to 24 spots here in this game. But we're ready to play with 12 spots now. And now you can see in here that we have a couple of different options. So this is a game that's usually played in 2 teams. We can also play it in 1 team. We can decide how many spots we want to add, and then there are actually 30 different levels in this game. So the first one I'm going to start and show you guys is one where we catch light on the spot just by stepping on it. So when I start the game, the white light is going to disappear, And then we'll see red and green light popping up around on the spots. And of course, it's going to be red team against green on catching the lights here. But I'm just going to be demonstrating it now, so I think I'll just go for the red light and act the red team here. So in this game, imagine that you have a lot of kids playing. You spread the spots really far out and have them run around and catch the red and green light here. So it's a lot of fun, and I'll just get it started now.
Hello, I am Ralph. Step on the red light when you want to catch me.
Yeah, so there's a little speak here in the beginning of the game.
I'm on the green team and my name is Grace. The lipstick is on and I'm gonna give it all I've got.
Yeah, so we're ready to play now, and I'll catch the red light.
You did it! Well done! That was awesome! You snooze, you lose. Better luck next time.
So surprisingly, the red team won because it was just me playing here. This only took 15 seconds. Obviously, if we spread it much further out, we can really get to run around, and it's going to take longer to play this game. So it's a fun movement game where you can really challenge your body and have a lot of fun. And the spots actually have a range of 20 meters on each side of this unit. So that allows us to spread the spots out on a total of 40 meters in all. Yeah, and don't worry about the robustness of the spots. They're very robust. They can actually withstand up to 200 kilos of weight pressure. So very robust and movable as well. Yep. Yeah, so as I said, there are 30 different levels here in the chase, and it's going to get a lot harder. For instance, you'll have to catch the light on the spots, doing jumping jacks, sitting on the spots, pressing them with your hand. Basically challenging your body to move a lot. We'll move on to the next game. It's called Sequence. It's also quite simple, but it's a really good game for cognitive training. So in this game we have to make our own order that we build on the spots here. And I'll just start out with the turquoise spot, I think. Yeah. So I'm making an order now on the spots, and this order can actually go all the way up to 20. So I'm obviously going to have to start reusing some of the spots again because there are 12 of them. And now the task is to remember the spot I stepped on before and add a new one. Let's see if I can keep going. Add a new one. Okay, so we're up to 3 now. And I'll add the 4th. Yeah, start over here. So one of the things you can that's characteristic about this game is that the spots have their own individual sounds in this game. So obviously that's something you can use for remembering the order. If you spread the spots really far out, it's going to be a lot more challenging. And if you play together with other people, you're really gonna have to pay attention to the new spot that everyone else is adding. Because if you make a wrong step, you're gonna have to start all over again. So I'll just try and remember my order. Now I've been talking for a bit. The blue one. And then add a new one. Okay, so we're up to 6 spots now. And I just want to show you what happens if you make a wrong step.
Darn it! Now we have to start over.
Okay, so if someone makes a wrong step and steps on the spot that's not a part of the order that you've built together, you're going to have to start all over from scratch, making your own new order again. So that really, of course, motivates you to pay attention and do your very best in this game. So a bit of cognitive training here, that's really good, especially if you want a good working memory, you should get playing this game. And we'll move on to a new game here, or a different game. Yeah, so mix and match that I have entered here is a memory game. In this game there are 3 pre-programmed games that we've made. They're always available here on the top shelf. There's one with animals and their sounds. There's one with capitals and countries and music instruments and their sounds. And then on the bottom shelf, you'll see your own games if you make some in this game. Yeah, so on the top of the screen, you'll see different options. So you have an option to record your own content. You can also decide what the language you want to play on. I'll just set it for, or leave it set for English now. And then you can also decide how many spots you want to play with. I'll just take all 12 now and get started with the animals and their sounds. Yeah, so I'll press the number of spots I want to use. And that's simply because if I only want to use, say, 6 or 8 of the spots, I have to let the iPad know which spots I want to play with. But I activated all 12 of them now. And now my task is to step on one of the spots and listen for the content on it.
A duck.
And then I'm gonna have to see if I can find the spot that says the sound of a duck.
A chicken. That's just crazy.
So that's not a match, and you'll see the spots blinking with the red light. Sound of a horse there. Let's see what we have here.
A rooster. That's just crazy.
No, not a match either. I had the chicken, maybe it was over here.
No, that's really not correct.
No, it was not, but I think maybe this one and
A duck.
yeah.
That's a match.
Yeah. So that's a match there, and the spots show the screen lights stating that now they've become a pair, and we can continue playing with the rest of them. Really cool thing about this game is that you can also record your own content, and that's really easy to do. You enter the record function up here, and then you start making your own little game here. So I'll just make a little math game. It could be some additions here, so let's say 5 plus 5, and then we can make a match for it that says equals 10. And I'll just record it using the microphone in the iPad now. 5 plus 5. 5 plus equals 10. Okay, and I'll add one more pair so that we can start the game. Oops, let's say 4 plus 2 equals 6. 4 plus 2 equals 6. Okay. Over here, I have the option of adding more pairs. I'm just going to make 2 pairs now because then we can start the game. I can also use the camera in the iPad to add my own visual content for this game. So like we played before, the game with animals and their sounds, we had an animal shown on the screen when we stepped on a spot. And in this case, we could also add our own image to it. But let's save this game and get it started. I'll just give it a little keyword here, and that is simply because when we save the game here, we have 3 different options. We can either choose to share it with our own user, which I'm going to do now because my game is incomplete. But if I've and that means that it's this login I used for logging in, my login for the app now. I also have the option of sharing it across an institution or simply sharing it with all Hopspots users. And that of course also means that you have access to other Hopspots users' games if they have shared it with everyone. Okay, so let this game start. Get this game started here. Yeah, and I'll just step on 4 spots because we only made 2 pairs. And let's get started. Equals 10. And maybe this one? No. 4 plus 2.
That
not a match. Equals 6. This one. There we go. 4 plus 2.
Well done.
There we go. So that was the match there, and I just made it with my own content here for the game. It was really easy. It took almost no time, and I could make it with anything I like. as long as it's something that matches in pairs, obviously, in this game. But it could be like rhymes, and it could be questions and answers if you're gonna wanna make it harder. You can make it a lot easier and harder depending on who you wanna use the game for. Yep, so let's move on to Code a Spot down here. Looks kind of similar, like mix and match. We have 3 pre-programmed games here on the top shelf as well. So there's a movement game where you step on one spot and then you'll hear it say run to black or jump to purple and so on. You also have an interactive story that's divided in 12 parts on the spots here. And you have some music tones. But cool thing is that we can also make our own games here, and they're also gonna end on up on the bottom shelf here. But let's create a game. Now you see on the screen that we have all 12 spots shown here, and there's a little light bulb and a microphone, and that is of course because we can program the light on the spot here and record our own content for the spot using the microphone. So I'll program the turquoise spot now and put some rainbow light on it because I really like that one. And then I'll record the beginning of a story here. There once was a prince. And type in a little keyword so I know what I put on spot. Yeah, and then press the spot. There once was a prince. Okay, so I just programmed the turquoise spot now, and I could do that. My idea here was that I would make my own little story and record 12 parts on all of the spots, and then have kids figure out the order of the story and arrange the spots physically in the right order. Then they can play it and check if it makes sense, the order that they put the spots in. So that's just one idea for this game. Obviously this open platform allows you to do a lot of different things. You could do math tables as well. You could put planets on them and have kids arrange the planets in the order that they are placed from the sun, or whatever. There's a lot of different options here, and obviously you can also determine how many spots you want to use in this game to make it easier or harder. Yeah, so let's move on to Flow Dance here. Flow Dance is a music and dance game where you make your own piece of music on the spots, and then afterwards you can make it dance and do a dance off. And I'll just start making the music now. We have 4 different genres to choose between, so I'll take Latin. And I want to add my own sounds here, and they'll always be located on the green spot. I could record new ones using the red button over here, but I have some recorded from earlier on, and I'll just use those. So I put 4 sounds on the gray spot now, and then we're ready to play. So you can see now here on the screen that the red spot has kind of a unique role in this game. It's the record button in this game. So you have to press that one first, otherwise you're not gonna have any sound coming from the instruments. And then you can see on the screen that it doesn't say anything with the green spot, the gray spot, because that's the one you put your own sounds on. And the rest of the spots, they each represent a music instrument, which you can see what they are on the screen. So I'll start the recording here, and then I'll start the bass. Yeah, so on each of the spots here, there are music instruments, and in this case, it's a bass. This bass has 4 different recordings of 3 seconds duration, so I'll step on it again. And now you can hear that it's still the bass, but it sounds a little different. Same again. Yeah. So 4 different little bits here, and I'm just gonna get all the instruments started now. Play with it for a bit. And I can of course always stop my recording in between and start it again. Yep, so I just made a brief little piece of music here, and now I can save it and make my own dance for it. Okay. And still it's the same options when it comes to sharing. So now I am gonna make my own dance for the music I made before. And I'll just use the 4 spots that I have here close to me and drag them onto the virtual floor here on the iPad screen. So I've done this because if I want to play the dance again later on, it's really nice to know which spots I used and where they were placed. Yeah, and of course, if there's a lot of children playing here, I would use all 12 spots and spread them much further out. I could even have the kids playing in groups and give them a couple of spots each or whatever. So there is a lot of different options here, but let's continue to recording a dance. Yeah, so I'm gonna step in order a rhythm on the spots that I think suits this music I made, and it's gonna be pretty basic. A lot of repetition here. I'm gonna make it a bit harder in just a sec. Okay, let's get started here. Yep, so that's it there. Brief little dance, pretty simple and a lot of repetition because I am gonna have to see if I can do it again and score some points here. Yeah, so I am gonna do a little dance off against myself now, and I stepped on the spots 94 times, so that's the maximum points I can get here. I'm gonna try and see if I can step on the spots in time. They'll be showing white light. It pops up in the order that I stepped on the spots when I made the dance. So I'll see if I can catch it in time to score a lot of points here. Pretty happy that I made a simple dance now. Whoop. It's gonna be a lot faster now. Yep, there we go. So 82 points out of 94. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So I'm gonna save that high score for sure. No, and that was it for Flow Dance actually. So a fun little game where you can make your own music, and obviously you can play with making your music in so many different ways. You can combine these spot instruments with real physical instruments. You can play with how you do the dances and how the kids do the dance-offs in the end. So there's a lot of options here. Yep, and the last game, the island that you see on the bottom shelf to the right, is the 6th game in the Hopspots app, and I'm not going to talk a lot about that. I'll just tell you briefly that it's an interactive story and a game for 4th to 9th graders. It's about a group of children who are stranded on a deserted island, and they have to figure out how to survive on this island. And the kids have to read the story on the iPad, and then in between do these physical exercises on the spots. But the island has its own video, so go check that out to learn how to play the game. And yeah, just kind of as as a final note to end on, I kind of showed you now how you can play these games, but if you're in doubt, you can go to our website and you can print out this one-pager guide that tells you how to play the different games step by step. So do that if that's a help for you. Yeah, that was it for me.